Three major conflicts active simultaneously. Famine warnings across 4 continents, Category 5 hurricane season, record earthquakes, and everyone is losing their minds like this has never happened before. It is geopolitics. It is climate. It is what happens when systems under pressure break at the same time.
Or it is what happens right before something much larger.
Please do not tell me you are going biblical on me, Mary.
I am not going biblical. I am going historical. And the historical record suggests that when these specific things happen simultaneously.
It means we are all going to be very busy.
Okay, but Mary, wars and natural disasters have always happened. What specifically makes now different from any other period of history? It's the convergence, Priya. Technology and global interconnectedness amplify everything.
Because it has never all happened at the same time, at this scale and this speed. Not in recorded history. I have been covering international news for 8 years. I have never seen the convergence look like this. I started reading something 3 weeks ago that I cannot stop thinking about, and I need to show you.
Mary.
Just read it, David. Matthew 24. Then tell me it does not read like a news briefing. You will know what you are looking at. Because we have been reporting on it.
Welcome to Revelation Now, where faith meets real life, and every story reveals God's truth, hope, and purpose.
You will know what you are looking at, because we have been reporting on it. That was what Mary said in the newsroom, and the room went quiet. Not because it was a strange thing to say, but because for a moment, just a moment, nobody had a quick answer to it. And in a newsroom full of people whose job is to have quick answers, that silence was significant. Mary had been a journalist for 8 years. She had covered wars, famines, natural disasters, political upheavals. She had reported from 3 continents. She had sat across from heads of state and humanitarian workers and refugees and economists. She had learned to read the world the way a doctor reads an X-ray. Not just seeing what was there, but understanding what it meant. She was not someone who missed things, which is what made the thing she had been noticing for the past 3 weeks so impossible to dismiss. It started with a story she was building on simultaneous global crises. The angle her editor wanted was geopolitical, how systemic failures in multiple regions were creating a perfect storm of instability. Standard international news framing. Mary had written versions of this story before. She knew how to build the argument. She knew which experts to call. She knew how the piece would read before she wrote it. And then, one evening, sitting at her desk with the research spread across 3 screens, she typed a search she had not planned to type. Matthew 24. She was not sure why. She had grown up in a church-going household. She knew the broad outlines of the end times passages, but she had not read them seriously as an adult. Not with the kind of attention she gave to primary sources. She pulled up the text, and she read it the way she read everything, like a journalist. Matthew 24, verse 6. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. She read it once, then she looked at her screen showing the current global crisis research. Then she read it again, and then she sat very still for a long time. Because what she was looking at on her 3 screens was not geopolitical analysis. It was a checklist. And everything on the checklist was being ticked, simultaneously, in real time, on her screens. She told herself it was coincidence. She told herself the Bible had been interpreted as predicting current events in every generation. She told herself that wars and famines and earthquakes had always existed, and that confirmation bias could make any text seem relevant to any moment in history. She told herself all the things a rational, educated journalist tells herself when she encounters something that challenges the framework she uses to understand the world. And then she kept reading, because that is also what journalists do. Luke 21. Jesus describing the signs of the end more specifically. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. People will faint from terror, apprehensive of what is coming on the world. Nations in anguish and perplexity? She had filed a report 3 weeks ago titled exactly that, not as a biblical reference, just as a description of what she was observing. Daniel 12, verse 4. Many will go here and there to increase knowledge. She thought about the internet, about artificial intelligence, about the speed at which information now moved and multiplied, the specific nature of this moment in human history, the connectivity, the acceleration, the convergence of crises at a speed and scale that previous generations had no tools to produce, was not something that existed before this century. And the text she was reading had described it. 2,000 years ago, she was a journalist. She knew that extraordinary claims required extraordinary evidence. She knew the difference between pattern recognition and pattern imposition. She knew that humans are wired to find meaning in coincidence. She spent 3 weeks investigating this the way she investigated everything. She read the theologians and the historians and the prophecy scholars and the skeptics. She read the counter-arguments as carefully as the arguments. She built her case, and then she tried to pull it apart. And what she found, after 3 weeks of the most rigorous reading she had done since journalism school, was that the convergence was real, not in the sense of certainty, not in the sense of she could print it as fact in a news article, but real in the sense that the pattern was there. And she could not make it go away no matter how hard she tried. The thing that most people do not understand about the end times passages is that Jesus was not being cryptic. He was being specific. He sat on the Mount of Olives and his disciples asked him directly, "What will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" And he told them, in plain language, with a list. Wars and conflicts escalating, nations in economic and political crisis, famines, earthquakes increasing, persecution of believers. The gospel preached to all nations, the love of most people growing cold. And then he said something that is perhaps the most important thing he said in the entire passage. He said, "Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, right at the door." He was not describing signs that should produce panic. He was describing signs that should produce awareness, the kind of awareness a farmer has when he looks at the fig tree. He does not panic. He does not stop farming. He simply knows what the signs mean. And he prepares accordingly. Luke 21, verse 28. When these things begin to take place, not when they are finished, not when they have reached their conclusion, when they begin, stand up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. That is not a verse about fear. That is a verse about posture. Stand up, lift your head. The instruction in the face of converging signs is not to hide or to panic or to despair. It is to raise your eyes, to look up. Because what is coming for the person who belongs to Christ is not destruction. It is redemption. Mary went to church for the first time in 7 years on a Thursday afternoon. Not a Sunday service, just a quiet weekday. She sat in a pew and did not perform anything. She just sat, with everything she had read and everything she had investigated and everything she could not dismiss. And for the first time in a long time, she prayed, not the polished public prayer of someone who knows how prayer is supposed to sound, the private kind, the honest kind, God. I have been reporting on the world for 8 years, and I think I finally understand what I have been looking at, and I need you to be real to me right now. not as a story, as a person. That was the whole prayer, and the church was quiet around her, and something shifted. She met with a pastor the following week, not as an interview subject, as a person with questions. She asked him everything she had been holding. He answered what he could. He was honest about what he could not. And at the end, he said something that Mary has not forgotten. He said, "The signs are not there to frighten us. They are there so that when they appear, we are not caught off guard." Jesus told us in advance precisely so that we would not be alarmed. The person who does not know the signs sees chaos. The person who knows them sees a timeline. And a timeline has an end, and the end, and for those who are ready, is not something to dread. It is something to prepare for. Maybe you have been watching the news and feeling something you cannot name. Not just the ordinary concern of someone following current events. Something heavier. Something that feels like the world is moving toward a point rather than just continuing to turn. Maybe you have dismissed that feeling as anxiety, or overconsumption of bad news, or the natural pessimism of difficult times. But what if it is something else? What if that feeling, that sense that something large is approaching, is a correct reading of the signs? Jesus said, "When you see these things beginning to take place, stand up and lift your heads. Not crouch down, not look away, not despair. Stand up, lift your head. The signs are not hidden. They are on every screen, in every newsroom, in every headline, in every breaking alert on your phone. Wars and rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, famines, earthquakes, pestilence, the love of many growing cold, knowledge increasing at a speed that no generation before this one could have produced." Every sign Jesus described, all of them, simultaneously, right now. The question is not whether the signs are there. The question is whether you know what you are looking at, and whether you are ready for what comes next. Because the same Jesus who described the signs also made a promise. He said, "I am coming back, and when I come, stand up, lift your head, your redemption is drawing near."